The organizing secretary of this particular program, Soca, our dynamic Professor M.K. Pant, Professor Jolly, and of course, Dr. Shiv Kumar, the organizing secretary of this particular program, Soca. Invited guests, speakers, delegates, media persons, some of the relatives also. A very good morning to all of you again and again on behalf of the HNB Medical University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, and of course on behalf of today's this inaugural ceremony of the Indian Society of the Clinical Anatomy. First of all, I would like to express my agreed to the organizers for having invited me for this particular program. Though we are a part of the system, the university is built up by the colleges, and colleges are for the university. Nonetheless, it's a customary basically, and we are today this large, huge gathering of the clinical anatomists of India, abroad, especially from the Nepal, Sri Lanka, and other countries. I'm highly delighted to be with all of you after the cessation of this COVID-19. I'm sorry that we could not meet, though the concept was already generated long back with the approval of the Honorable Principal of the GDMC, and of course with the dynamicity which Dr. Pant and Dr. Jolly has expressed in the beginning to start to organize this particular program within the state of Uttarakhand, and that is the heart, the capital city of the Uttarakhand. My warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the HNB Medical University and the, of course, state of Uttarakhand. Today, our Honorable Minister, Dr. Dhan Singh Rawat, he could not join this particular program as being chief guest here because he is also involved. He is attending in Nainital the convocation session of the Kumaon University. So he informed me that and express his best wishes to all for the grand success of this particular program, and the warm welcome on behalf of the government to all the dignitaries and the delegates, those who are here for attending this auspicious program today. Now I will come to the theme of the Soca 2022. The living anatomy. How far we can go. The anatomy is always living. No need to make it living. It's always living. To the best of my thinking, because anatomy is the subject who really made us, all of us, that we have now entered into the medical profession when we are inducted inside the dissection hall. That was the first time, in fact, we could realize that we have already passed the CPMT and now we are going to become the doctor. Though we are surrounded by the cadmeric environment, but that is for the dissection or the learning purpose. If the anatomy is not living, then we cannot be, we all are not here basically. Anatomy teaches us the infrastructure of the body basically. So we are alive. So anatomy is always alive basically. No need to make it alive or the live in future. That is basically my thinking. And today I'm very happy that my teacher, Professor R.K. Sharma, when we joined the KGMC in long back in 1977, so he was the lecturer at that time. The terminology lecturer was their assistant professor, followed later on basically. Studied in the KGMC, that time KGMC, and I am very grateful today that, and I was surprised to see, sir, to hear in this auspicious program, a long gap of the 2.5 years, we have started meeting to each other here basically. So I pray that your blessing will always be there. You are a stalwart, and similar to you, we are very lucky here today that we have many stalwart, retired professors and teachers, those who have already blessed most of. Ladies and gentlemen, the university itself is in a primitive state. It was established in 2014, and GDMC itself started in 2017 or something like that. So we are still in the primitive stage, and we expect and request all of you, all the clinical anatomists, those who have attended to this particular program or could not attend this program, not only making this particular event success, but we require the knowledge, skill from all of you, those who have come from any part of the country or the abroad, to develop the state of Uttarakhand, and especially the anatomy subject, because that is the beginning of the medical study. Without anatomy, going through the anatomy, we cannot move forward. That is why difficult for us, because when you are a student of the MBBS, most of the time you think that just to pass the examination and go ahead good. But later on, I think the subject as to how important is that particular subject. You'll be surprised, we have been thinking here, since I am a member of the Medical Advisory Council of the NMC and the National Board of the Examination also. We have already framed a draft in relation to the integration of the anatomy or the applied anatomy, make it more interested in future so that more and more students, they are coming forward to join it. I personally feel if you do not know the anatomy, you cannot become a radiologist. It is 100% based on the anatomy of the subject. Genetics, embryology, they are part of the anatomy basically. So make this subject in such a way, we require a change in the course and curriculum of the anatomy subject for the undergraduate and for the PG also, so that more and more people or student UG, especially for MD, MS at some point, are joining the subject. Otherwise, what will happen? The day will come, we won't find any PG student for the anatomy or physiology or some other subject. So not only anatomy, we are also searching out the ways, different types, and will be recommending to the Government of India through the NMC that develop the course and curriculum in such a way that it will become interesting, applied also. I fully agree with Professor Sharma that we are already the clinical person. Our basics, once we have passed the MBBS, MBBS is the Sarvarog Visheshagya. I personally feel he is the Sarvarog Visheshagya. I can treat anything, no problem. Nobody can bar me treating the patient except the higher education which are governed, given by the Medical Council of India, certain under the rules and regulation that you cannot perform this particular type of the surgery or particular type of the things. So make it more interesting, and I would request from this particular conference today and tomorrow, give me a crisp 1 or 2 pages recommendation, the abstract or the conclusion or the recommendation of this committee, Dr. Pant, this is your responsibility. So I can recommend further it to the National Medical Council of India by virtue of being a member of that council. So that becomes my responsibility. Not only that I am here today, but my responsibility as such as an advisory role is to develop the medical fraternity and make the more and more students, they are coming forward. Lots of the seats are lying vacant. Lots of the seats are lying vacant. Time will come, we won't find any teacher for that. No, this is not possible because the time has absolutely changed. And I fully agree with Dr. Sayana's version also that go for 1,000 miles, go ahead with the simulation or other technology. But the cadaver will can dissect the cadaver. And in fact, the first day when we joined inside, Dr. Sharma is here basically, we were quite afraid to see the dead body in that state. But within the days of 4 or 5, we started loving that cadaver. We could not leave the cadaver because that was our overall, I'm the first step of the medical education in the KGMC. So we should come forward. This is your wide responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, that you come forward with the crisp recommendations. So send me the same recommendations to the government of India through the NMC to make subject more and more applied and the clinical, real clinical in nature. Incorporated or integrated in such a way that as a part of the radiology, we can also perform the radiology type of the procedures or the clinical aspects. That is the thing. That is what I mean to say to be all of you today. And I invite to all of you basically to go around the Dehradun. There are many places to be seen here as a tourist also. I hope that some of you must have already planned for that, going after tomorrow to going here and there. Masuri and the Haridwar, those who want to have a dip from the Holy Ganga, you can go to Haridwar, you can go to Rishikesh. Ahead of that, Kedarnath. Prayag is the Sangam of the 2 rivers, are the Prayag. So you can go there. Prayag is the place, actually you have to see that. After the day Prayag, we can name the Ganga. When it started from the Gangotri, basically, it's a Gangotri, it starts from that, it's a Bhagirathi. Then it comes to merged with the basically Bhagirathi, Alaknanda, and then Devprayag, that it becomes the actual Ganga. That is a beautiful, beautiful place to be seen from the where you can have the dip there also. And Ganga the moves forward, then reaches to Calcutta, it becomes the Hooghly also. So Ganga's, Holy Ganga has the different type of the names basically. I mean to say this Devbhumi is a place of the god and goddess. And we, on behalf of the state, we invite all of you. And I hope Dr. Pant is a very dynamic and with the overall supervision with Dr. Sayana must have made a good arrangement for your this conference environment and the of course evening also, what I personally feel, because these are the basically occasions when we can meet today and can have the long gap, 2 and 3 years basically. So I wish for the grand success of this particular program and have a nice stay. Thank you very much for again for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would in the Department of Anatomy, GDMC Uttarakhand, a key member of the Souvenir and Registration.
Good morning to all. Today I feel incredibly honored and privileged to have been allowed to extend a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion. I, on behalf of my entire Department of Anatomy, GDMC, wants to thank our Honorable Vice their vital time from their busy schedule to grace this event. I also want to thank all the respected dignitaries on the dais to make this event more successful. I also want to thank all the respected delegates for taking their valuable time out and ensuring their presence here. I also want to thank all the speakers for adjourning their necessary work and sharing their opinion with us. I'm sure we will be greatly benefited by your opinions and findings today. Words would fall short of describing how much knowledge we could derive from the 2 days conference and the important networks we could create. Last but not the least, I want to extend vote of thanks to my fellow organizing team, our admin staff, and our respected teachers who guided us at every single step. It was a great learning experience as an individual for me. I hope we will continue to work like also. Thank you so much once again.
As we know today, our gala dinner, it is at nearby the Suri, and it is Rajpur Heights, and at least around 25 kilometers from our this place. So I think we are wind up all these things around 4 p.m. And at 4 p.m. there are 2 buses over here, so that and some vehicles, so that we can travel from this place to the Rajpur Heights. So you all are welcome at Rajpur Heights, but be stuck with time, because the enjoyment is basically depends on the time. So thank you very much, and the pleasant stay at Dehradun. Thank you.
Respected delegates, a very good afternoon to each and every one of you for this general body meeting, which is going to be conducted at the 10th Soca, being arranged by Dr. Pant and his team in Government Medical College, Doon Medical College, Dehradun. We are meeting after 2 years. So it gives me immense pleasure to invite each and every one of you to this general body meeting. Now I request Dr. Muthukumarvel, our General Secretary, sir, to carry on the agenda with to enumerate the agendas and go about each and every point. Thank you so much. Dr. Kumar Satirishavi is also with us, Editor in Chief. He will also join this GB meeting. Thank you.
Very good morning, all of you. On behalf of Society of Clinical Anatomists, I welcome all the members for this 10th general body meeting of our Society of Clinical Anatomists. Already we had conducted 9 general body meetings in earlier 9 years. In 2021, we could not conduct the general body meeting due to the COVID pandemic. So 10th time we are conducting this general body meeting. The main agendas for this meeting: first, General Secretary's report will be there. Then Editor-in-Chief's report, along with the issues of NJCA, will be presented. After that, Treasurer's report. This time our Treasurer could not attend this general body meeting. So I will be presenting his report also. Along with my General Secretary report, I will be presenting Treasurer's report also. After that, 4th agenda is discussion and decision about the venue of the next annual Soca conference based on the waitlisted applicants. Then any other issue with the permission of the President. So these are the main agendas. So first I will complete my report. The Society of Clinical Anatomists, Soca, was founded on 19th of July 2011. It was registered at Salem, Tamil Nadu. The number of life members at present 1974, 1 week back. The total 9 conferences we have already conducted under the banner of Soca. First conference was conducted in the year 2012 at Chennai. The organizing secretary was Dr. Gunapriya Raghunath. Second conference in the year 2013 at Salem by myself, Dr. Muthukumarvel. Third one in the year 2014 in Pondicherry by Dr. Shivakumar, who is the present president of our society. 2015 at Coimbatore by Dr. Ravichandran, the earlier editor-in-chief of our journal. Then 2016 at Amritsar by Dr. Anupama Magajan. 2017 at Belagavi by Dr. Daksha Deshit. 2018 Bhopal by Dr. Bertha Rathinam. At 2019 at Chennai by Dr. Vijay Sagar. 2020, just before the COVID pandemic, we had our 9th conference at Ahmedabad, organized by Dr. Jitendra Patel. So total 9 conferences along with the general body meeting we had. The last general body meeting, as I already told, it was conducted during the 9th National Conference at NHL Municipal Medical College, Ahmedabad, Gujarat on 14/3/2020 from 11 AM to 12 noon. The minutes of the last general body meeting is available in the society website www.clinicalanatomist.org. For the period of last 2 years, 378 new members joined in our society. During the COVID pandemic, we could not conduct our conference. So no GBM in 2021 also due to the COVID pandemic. But during this COVID pandemic period, NJCA under leadership of Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi organized online webinars. He will be conveying the details about these webinars. So agendas already I conveyed. So treasurer report also I'll finish now itself. For the financial year 2000. Total expenses for conference, organizing conference, 1,05,600. Auditor fees, 8,850. Stationery charges, 10,000. Website renewal, 12,500. SMS alert, 17 rupees. Income over the period of 2021 to 22, 5,67,000 as life membership fees. Interest from the bank, 47,200. This is a report I received from treasurer. The balance in society account. We have our society account in Indian Overseas Bank, Virugambakam, Chennai. So balance as on 31/3/2022, 16,09,959 rupees. Thank you so much. This is my report. General body accept my report. Is there any queries on this General Secretary's report? You can. Thank you so much. Now I welcome our editor-in-chief to present his report.
Honorable President of Society of Clinical Anatomists, Professor M. Siv Kumar sir, our General Secretary sir, Professor Muthu Kumar Vel sir, all our respected senior anatomists. I'm very happy to see you all over here, and I will be presenting the journey of 2 years what NJCA has done. We will be seeing in the coming slides. First of all, I would like to thank all the members of the Society of Clinical Anatomists and the office bearers of the Society of Clinical Anatomists who elected me as editor-in-chief, that too in absentia. I'm really grateful to all of you. I thought the responsibility lies more on me because they have shown their immense trust in me, and keeping those things in our mind, we started our journey as here. We will be seeing like this. So on 14th March 2020, I was elected as editor-in-chief. And as soon as I was elected, I wanted to revise this editorial board, and we revised the editorial board, and from not only from the country, from across the world, we invited the members to join our board, and we got amazing response. And because of that, you are aware of the results what we have right now. So the new editorial board was consisting of the young budding anatomist as well as experienced anatomist as well. It was a diverse, means from the various parts of the country was there. It was not like that from a particular reason all the editorial board members were there. So accordingly, even from the different parts of the world, we had this editorial board. Now, as soon as we took over, the various requests came regarding revising the publication charge, because the publication charge that time was 8,500, and so many members they expressed that the publication charges is too much, though the journal is not indexed, and we are not able to afford this publication charge. So usually you will not find that any journal will reduce the publication charge. Usually the journal increases the publication charge, but keeping those feelings, or you say the expressions what was expressed by the members of the Society of Clinical Anatomists, we reduce the publication charges, which was, thank you. Apart from that, when we reduced the publication charges, we wanted to be financially stable. We never wanted that the NJCA should be a burden to the Society of Clinical Anatomists in the matter of finance. And because of that only, we started our subscription drive. And you will be surprised to know in the coming slides, I will be showing you about the financial strength. It is much what we expected in the last 2 years. because of this subscription drive and reducing the publication charges. Then apart from that, uh, initially we revised the subscription charges as well because we wanted to generate the revenue, because already we reduced the publication charges. So we reduced for the individual, but we increased for the institutional subscription. And those subscription agencies are there, for them we revised and we increased the subscription charges. And because of that, now we are in the financially stable and independent, we can say. We started issuing the e-receipts because there are various institutions where the faculty members, they get reimbursed whatever the publication charges are there or the subscription charges they pay to the journal. So we started issuing this e-receipt. Immediately, everyone was very happy because when I took over the journal, it was not even indexed under Index Copernicus. So on 26th May 2020, our journal got indexed under DOAJ, and that made us eligible for the NMC, because National Medical Commission, they consider the publications which are published under DOAJ indexed journal. Now, because the editorial board office was located at Rishikesh and the bank account of the journal was located at Chennai, so just for the smooth functioning and to operate, the operation should be very easy. We shifted our Chennai bank account to Rishikesh, means at Rishikesh, because it was difficult to shift. We opened a new bank account at Rishikesh and started functioning on that. Right. As soon as the new board was there, the journal got indexed. Even the recognition from other association or the societies were coming up. The IMSA, International Medical Science Academy, they acknowledged in their official publication about our journal and taking over as editor-in-chief. Even the IFA, which is the International Society, they included the editor-in-chief of National Journal of Clinical Anatomy in their society. The THEMA, previously our journal was with THEMA, and there were a lot of delays in publishing. And when I took over as editor-in-chief, the editorial board prime aim was to publish every issue on time. And keeping those things in mind, we changed the publisher. That time there were a lot of rejection, means obstructions were there. But now when we changed to the Wolters Kluwer, the results are all seen in front of you. We have our new website, njca.info, where all the articles published till date can be seen. Already we have, because of the limitation of time, we'll skip some of the slides. Now, the first issue with the this Wolters Kluwer, we published with the 10 articles. Initially, when we took over, even the 7 articles was difficult to publish. Means we were not getting articles to publish the first issue, and it took almost 6 months to publish our first issue, that too with the 7 articles. But now we have surplus articles, and in the coming slides, I will be showing you about the acceptance rate and the rejection rate. In the 2021, we received 167 submissions, and out of that 167 submissions, only 51 articles were published, and our acceptance rate is 29%. The rejection rate is 71. So you can see the drastic change. When we took over, we were not getting articles to publish, and now we are having enough articles to reject. Whatever the quality articles are there, those only are being considered for the publication. Now this is a world of social media, right? So because of that only, we also wanted to flow with the passage of time, and National Journal of Clinical Anatomy is present on all the social media, whether it is Facebook, LinkedIn, ResearchGate, or you say the Twitter, because that also increases the the citation of the articles published in the journal, because the authors, they are more on the social medias, they can see those articles, they can go through that, and they can cite those articles. So keeping those things, we are on social media. The biggest news what we got for the society, for the journal, on 25th March 2021, when our journal got indexed under Scopus. The recommendation from the Scopus we got that there is no reason this journal should not get indexed under Scopus. So that was the biggest comment we received from the Scopus, and this is all because of the team member of the National Journal of Clinical Anatomy, the reviewers, the authors, and above all, the members of the Society of Clinical Anatomists with their immense support. Because when we were struggling with the finance, there were a lot of members who donated for this journal. And I can say approximately 6.9 or 7 lakhs we received donation for the journal. That is a huge amount. What was shown by the members of the Society of Clinical Anatomists, and I really respect their feelings for the journal. When we were getting the articles for the journal, the authors, because I just now in the inaugural ceremony also I mentioned that we have the different strata of the faculty or the students, because the training what we give at INI, at the state government institutes or the private medical college, there will be a differentiation, there will be variation, because when we see our hands also, all the 5 fingers are not of same length. So keeping those things, because the articles what we were receiving were not even in the IMRAD format. So considering those things, usually the journal doesn't have such kind of academic activity, they don't organize. But because our motive was very clear that this society of Clinical Anatomists, is an academic society, it is meant for the academic growth, and keeping those things, the NJCA, with the permission of the office bearer of the Society of Clinical Anatomists, we started our academic activities in the COVID duration during the pandemic. Because financially we were not strong, right? And we wanted to hire some platform, the virtual platform. So in the first webinar, we put minimal charges of 250 as the registration fee. And from that also, we generated approximately more than 60,000 revenues for the journal. And we distributed the e-certificate also. Accordingly, first webinar was conducted on how to prepare and publish the scientific manuscript. Then our duty was also to train the reviewers, because there were young reviewers as well as the senior reviewers. So experienced reviewers, we were not worried, but we were worried about the young reviewers, because we wanted to train them. And because of that academic session, that was how to review a scientific manuscript, just to train our reviewers. In that also, we got a very good response, and that was done on the occasion of the World Anatomy Day, in which the Executive Director of AIIMS Gorakhpur was there as chief guest. She is also the member of National Medical Commission. We also wanted to acknowledge them as NMC also, because she is the member, so she can consider our issues. Be keeping those things in our mind, we invited her as the chief guest in this event. After how to prepare and publish the manuscript, how to review the manuscript, then we wanted to train the people on the publication ethics, right? And keeping those things, we organized another academic event on the publication ethics. In that, the stalwarts of the country were invited, like the AIIMS Bhubaneswar director, the JIPMER director, the JIPMER dean, and the members of the society were enlightened because of their talks. Another from national, we wanted to go to the international. So in the next World Anatomy Day, we invited our international speaker, who is the editor-in-chief of Clinical Anatomy and one of the editor of Gray's Anatomy, Shane Tubbs. Along with that, we also always ensured that one member should be from the editorial board of NJCA. So in the previous, Dr. Vandana Mehta ma'am was there, and this Dr. Rima Dada was there. Apart from that, in this event, the chief guest was Dr. Sudha Seshan ma'am, who is the vice chancellor and the stalwart of anatomy, doyen of anatomy, you can say. In that also we got very good response. Now coming to the financial report, that is very important to run the journal. When in the previous GB or the editorial board meeting, which was conducted physically, in that GB, our Chennai bank balance was approximately 12,19,000. When I was about to start the new bank account at Rishikesh, the bank balance at Chennai account was 14,59,000 approximately. We received amount from the old bank twice, one 6,20,000 in 2020 to pay the publisher, and second 5,42,000 in 2021 to pay the publisher. We got our account audited, and on 17th March 2021, apart from paying everything, our bank balance at PNB was 14.37 lakhs. That's a huge income we generated, and that was generated because of the you say the subscription drive, the donation, that was approximately more than 6 lakhs. Because of that only we have now present balance. If you see this year, the total income we have in the National Journal of Clinical Anatomy is 36 lakhs. We started our journey with 12 lakhs. Now we generated revenues 36 lakhs. That's a huge, huge amount, you can say. And not only in the indexing, be it DOAJ or the Scopus, you say, even financially, now NJCA is stable and we are not dependent on Society of Clinical Anatomists for the publication part. So right now, the balance amount, what we have after paying to the publication is 28.81 lakhs, that is 29 lakhs. I think from the journey was, means God has been very kind to us, that whatever we did, the result was positive. It is nothing, not only our effort, but I will give credit to the God also, his blessings, his grace. So now coming, what all we have for the future of the journal, you can say. So our priority will be that the National Journal of Clinical Anatomy should be in the top journals in the category of clinical anatomy, and it should be the choice of the researchers of not only the country, but abroad as well. These are our mission. I have already circulated this in the various WhatsApp group. Because of the limited time, I will skip these slides. These are our mantras and these are our future goals. I'll just enumerate this. Right now, we are publishing 4 issues in a year. What is there? Because we have number of the Indian anatomists, there's a lot, everyone needs publication for promotion as per the NMC. So keeping those things, we are thinking that not from the next year, but from 2024, when we will accumulate a good number of articles, we will increase the number of its issue from 4 to 6. That will be a subject. Editorial board, yesterday meeting was conducted, and in that they have approved. We will present the agendas for the approval in the GB. Then apart from that, not only the issue, even we will increase the number and the variety of articles published in each issue. We started with 7 articles in each issue. Right now we are publishing almost 13, 14 articles in each issue. We are not increasing abruptly. We are publishing 7 articles. Now how come you are publishing 35 articles? So keeping those things in mind, we are progressing slowly. So these are the things. Next, already SJR has listed our journal, and now we will be working for the Q4, and we have to get the impact factor, and for that we need the citations. So to improve, to increase the number of citations, in the coming slides, we have planned something, and if the GB approves, we will work accordingly. So these are the future goals for the authors. Right now the 4 months duration is there in the decision making. We will decrease it to 4 to 6 weeks, and accordingly these things we have already circulated, so we will skip, you all know, right? Apart from that, for the reviewers, we are presenting in the GB. In the coming slides you will see we have proposed, because reviewers, they are giving ample time to review the manuscript, because the quality of the articles, it all depends on the reviewer because of their efforts. And in reviewing a manuscript, it takes a lot of time. So keeping those things, what we are planning, that if any reviewer completes 4 articles successfully, right? So we will, as an incentive, we will waive off the publication charges if they wish to publish in the National Journal of Clinical Anatomy. Then apart from these, other agendas are there. These are future goals for the authors. We have already discussed. Okay. Now for the reviewers, editors. Now coming to the main slide of this GB, you say, these are the agendas I am proposing and I am requesting for the approval of the GB. The first thing, what I am proposing over here, that the best paper published in the National Journal of Clinical Anatomy with articles is best recommended by the committee, right? We will award. Why I am thinking this? Because that will improve, that will motivate the good authors to send their manuscript. If the manuscript will be good, that will increase the number of citations, the quality of the issue, the journal. So keeping those things, and also it will be a motivating factor for the authors also, if or the young anatomists, they need also to showcase in their CV. So if they get the best paper award by NJCA, National Journal of Clinical Anatomy, definitely it will have weightage in their CV also. So what we are proposing, that based on number of citations, originality and innovations, the best paper published in the NJCA award will be given on recommendation of a committee consisting of the president or his or her nominee, general secretary or his or her nominee, and 2 editorial board members nominated by editor-in-chief. So this will be the committee who will recommend that which article is published, and accordingly we will give the award to the author. The award, very important, this line please, I would request everyone to listen carefully this line. Award will be named after the anatomist who will donate maximum amount, and the minimum amount to be donated is rupees from the senior anatomist who can afford to donate, who wish that the award should be in their name, right? They can donate. So award will consist of a medal, certificate, and a cash prize of rupees 5,000. Second is it okay? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Incentive as a waiver of publication charges for reviewers on successful completion of 4 reviews. Is this agenda agreed, approved by the GB? Okay, thank you. The increase of frequency to bi-monthly from the year 2024, that will be right now we are publishing 4 issues. From 2024 we will try to publish 6 issues per year. Is it approved by the GB? Thank you. Our journal is growing. Where we started, right now where we are, the number means everything is increasing, the amount of work, the time, everything, we are putting time. So we need to think, doing all the assistant work, it is better to give 5,000 to somebody and get all these things, typing works by an assistant. So what I'm requesting, earlier I was the sub dean, so I was having my assistant, office assistant, and I used to get the things done by them. My term is over. So now I would request GB to give office assistant on part-time basis, not full-time. For that, I'm requesting 5,000 per month from the NJCA fund. Is it okay? Thank you. So any other agenda I've suggested, editorial board didn't suggest anything. So this is all the agendas what we have. So with these strength, now what I was saying in the inaugural ceremony, as per NMC, on 13/4/20, the journal was under E category. It was not indexed under Copernicus as well. Right now, on 25th March 2021, the journal is under A category as per NMC Scopus. So this is all the journal has achieved. Either it is financially or it is about the indexing. So we have miles to go together, and initially it is always looks that things are impossible, but I can say the God is there to take care of everything, and you will get the success. As I said, this is all about the editor's report. Now, as I said, that Society of Clinical Anatomists is meant for the academics. Keeping those things in mind, now we are about to, tomorrow, we will be finishing our this 10th conference, but the chain should not stop, it should continue. We are Soca, under the banner of Soca, we are having another academic event on 12th June, which is being organized by GSL Medical College, Rajmundry. So they have sent their invitation, right? This workshop will be on rediscovering anatomy with simulation. That is under the edges of Society of Clinical Anatomists. So I would humbly request on behalf of Society of Clinical Anatomists to all the members, all the delegates who are present over here to kindly register for this workshop and get yourself enlightened with such kind of academic workshop. In this workshop, these are the details we have already circulated in the WhatsApp group. One of the eminent international anatomists will be coming, Richard Turnstile. He is one of the editor of Gray's Anatomy, a specialist in clinical anatomy and imaging education. He is head of clinical anatomy and imaging education in the higher education, applied surgical anatomy led at Royal College of Surgeons, co-directors of Strieber Examiner at the Royal College of Surgeons of England, external examiner in the University College London. He is the section editor of Gray's Anatomy 41st and the 42nd edition, author of Pocket Tutor Surface Anatomy, winner of British Medical Association Student Textbook of the Year. So he will be one of the guest speaker there. So I would request all of you to kindly register for this academic event, the workshop. They have sent one video. I would like to run this video. I would request all of you to have a glimpse of that. This is their institute. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi. I would like to convey one thing about Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi. Usually we will give top priority for our official work. Next we will give priority to our family work. Third only usually we will give priority to society work. But Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi, he is giving topmost priority for the journal related work. That is a specialty about Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi. So on behalf of Soca, we really appreciate his hard work and sincerity.
Apart from that, I would like to add over here, I forgot to article, first three authors and the corresponding author has to be the member of Society of Clinical Anatomists. So that way we are increasing the members also in the Society of Clinical Anatomists. So that is undefined role, but we are working on that. Thank you.
Few more things we'd like to convey. As unanimously decided in the executive committee meeting yesterday, the term of the present editor-in-chief, Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi, will be for total 10 years. So that our journal reaches the level of renowned journal of the world. So all of you approve this one? Yes. So the duration of editor-chief of present editor-in-chief of our society journal NJCA will be for total 10 years. He assumed office in 2020. So till 2030, he will be in office as he is doing extraordinary works for the journal. Thank you. The next venue of Soca conference for the year 2023. After discussion in EC meeting, it was decided that Dayanand Medical College, Ludhiana, Soca annual conference for the year 2023. So the faculty members of Department of Anatomy at Dayanand Medical College, they can come and invite the delegates. If possible, you can come to the dais, you can just invite the members.
We are from the Manchester of India, Ludhiana. I'm Dr. Hitant, Professor and Head at DMC Ludhiana, Dr. Anu, Professor, and Dr. Minakshi. We are a part of the team which cordially invite you to our city, to our place, and come and experience the Punjabi hospitality. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. We will keep and looking forward for your all participation. Please do come. Dr. Anu?
You so much. We really appreciate the decision and we are grateful for that. And we all are there for, we hope that we show you the welcome you all. Looking forward to see you all over there. Dr. Meenakshi.
We all welcome you. You will not be disappointed at all. We welcome you to the place of Ludhiana.
Really humble.
Thank you. All the
Thank
best.
you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Three medical colleges are under waiting list for the next Soca conference. D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pimbri, Pune. Then Balaji Medical College, Raipur. Then AIMS, Raebareli. So these three colleges are waitlisted for the future Soca conference. Whenever required, they will come forward and organize a conference. Then other issues. The society's bank account holder's name is to be changed to the name of the present president, Dr. M. Shivakumar. Can you do it? Because till now, the society's account is in the name of previous Soca president, Dr. Gunapriya, since she has resigned her post. So we have to change the account holder's name in the society account. Can you do it? As per the request from Dr. Rajat Supradas from nominated as an executive committee member. Can you do it? Then Dr. Vinay Sharma from Muzaffar Nagar Medical College, Uttar Pradesh, has conveyed that UP Public Service Commission is not following NMC norms and giving preference to MSc qualified anatomist. It was decided in EC meeting that our society will take up this matter to our legal partner association, AAPCMA, and do the needful. And also at our society level, we will send representation. Okay, can you follow this one? Then after the last GBM at Ahmedabad, till today, around 378 people have applied for a life membership. So in our general body, we have to approve their membership. Can we approve their membership? Thank you. Thanks so much. Then on behalf of our Society of Clinical Anatomists, we would like to honor the organizing committee members for organizing this historical 10th National Conference of Soca. So our President sir has taken this initiative to appreciate the organizing committee members on behalf of Soca. So we'll proceed with that.
Meanwhile, Dr. Pant is coming. Meanwhile, what we'll do that whatever NJC is there, it's all because of the team effort. So I, as editor-in-chief on behalf of the Society of Clinical Anatomists, the Society of Clinical Anatomists has decided to felicitate the editors, the editorial board members for their outstanding work. We have already given the certificate of appreciation to all the reviewers. Right now, we'll be felicitating the editorial board members. So we will request the editor, I'll take the name, and the certificate will be given by the president and the general secretary. Please, no, name is there. It should be from the society only. So I would request Professor Ranjit Guha sir to please come on the dais. I would request Professor Virendra Kumar Neem sir to please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Apurva Patra to please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Anu Sharma to please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Tulika Gupta to please come on the dais. She's here. Dr. Tulika Gupta? Okay. Anyone from PGI Chandigarh? Okay. I would request Dr. T.S. Gugapriya to please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Adil Asgar to please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Bertha Rathina, ma'am. I think she's not here in the. I would request Dr. S. Viveka. Is not here. I would request Dr. Sabita Mishra, madam. She's not here. I would request Dr. Kalpana Ramchandran, madam. Anyone, please.
Dr. Vijay Kumar from SRMC can receive on behalf of Dr. Kalpana Ramchandran. You will pass it on to her.
I would request Professor Vandana Mehta, madam, to please come on the desk. I think she's not here. I would request Dr. Anupma Mahajan, madam, if she's here. Anyone from that medical college? Yes, please, ma'am. No problem. Please. I would request Dr. J. Sugandhi, madam, if she's here. Anyone from CMC Vellore? Okay. I would request Dr. Reema Dada, madam, if she's here. Anyone from AIMS Delhi? I would request Dr. Mukesh Singla, sir. Okay.
We can request Dr. Ravi to receive on behalf of Dr. Mukesh.
I would request Dr. Mohana Priya, if she is here. Anyone from Madras Medical College? is here. Mysore. Okay. I would request Professor Ghulam Mohammad Bhatt, sir, please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Pushpa NB. She's not here. Okay. I would request Dr. Preeti Chaudhary, madam, to please come on the dais. I would request Dr. Rosemole Xavier to please come on the dais. Request Dr. P. Sankaran to please come over here. That's all from the NJCA side. Thank you. Thank you so much.
அப்புறம் கடைசியில் ஓகே ஓகே. I would like to honor Dr. Muthukumaravel, General Secretary of Soca, for his tremendous contribution all along these years, and he is doing a very wonderful job. He is always supportive to us, and always is very communicative also. He communicates very well to with all delegates. In appreciation of his service, I would like to present a shawl to sir. Next, I would like to honor Honorable Editor-in-Chief of NJCA, Dr. Kumar Satish Ravi. I need not tell you about his achievements. He has done a lot for the journal. In order to appreciate, send a shawl to sir. Okay. Now I would like to 10th Soca 2022, Dr. M.K. Pandit. This is on behalf of Soca and all the delegates. We are honoring sir with a shawl and a certificate.
Actually, this is not my personal honor. It is my team, which basically works. Basically, the team, TEAM, stands for Together More. Thank you very much, sir.
Please come to the front. Now, I would like to honor Dr. Jali Agarwal, Joint Organizing Secretary. Madam she has done a wonderful job. All of you know about her. I need not tell anything more. So we are very happy about your performance, madam. Thank you so much for supporting us. Also. You read out the name.
Now I would like to invite Dr. Piyush Kumar, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Swati Saxena, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Dr. Deepika Sharma, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Dr. Anisha Nautiyal, ma'am. I would now like to invite Dr. Anjali Sharan, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Mr. Nutan Kumar Panja, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Gautam Kumar, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Pushkarendra Pratap, sir. I would now like to invite Mr. Amjad Ali Rahmani, sir. Mr. Neeraj Kumar. I would now like to invite Mr. Neeraj Kumar, sir. I would now invite Mr. Rajesh Kumar Maurya, sir.
I thank all the members for participating in this general body meeting. Thank you so much, one and all. Thank you.
We would like to felicitate Rajesh Kumar Maurya.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to 10th National Conference of Society of Clinical Anatomists. We are now going to start our second plenary session. Firstly, I would like to introduce our honorable chairpersons. Dr. Sanjeev Jain, sir. Sir is the professor in the Department of Anatomy and vice principal in Tirandkar Mahavir University, Moradabad. Dr. Ranjit Guha, sir. Sir is the professor in the Department of Anatomy and principal in Indira Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences, Sheikhpur, Patna, Bihar. Dr. Ashish Kumar Nayyar, sir. Sir is presently working as the additional professor in the Department of Anatomy, AIIMS, Jodhpur. Dr. Rakesh Kumar Diwan, sir. Sir is the additional professor in the Department of Anatomy at King George Medical College, Lucknow. I request all the chairpersons to come on the dais.
Hello.
Thank you.
May I request the persons standing over here, please take your seats. So I can introduce our speaker for this session. Everybody, please take your seat. Dr. P.K. Sharma, after after serving as professor and head of anatomy department, King George Medical University, Lucknow, and professor and head, he is professor and head, Era Medical College, anatomy department, and working as on honorary basis. Sir, I request you to please come and enlighten with your words. Please come. Please.
A very good afternoon to all of you. I request those who are standing over here and talking, please have your seats. Have your seats, please.
Everybody,
Please take your seat and maintain silence.
I feel honored to be invited by the Society of Clinical Anatomists at Dehradun. And I also thank the organizer of this association and this conference, particularly Dr. Mahan Pant, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. At the outset, I would just like to say that whatever I am going to talk about, it is for the sake of those undergraduates, those who are pursuing the course of MBBS. They should know something about these fundamentals after completing, after studying the region of the head and neck, particularly the brain, particularly which is concerned with the head injury. Because head injury during our days when we were undergraduates, the treatment was what? Wait and watch for 3 days. Lucid interval was there. What is going to happen? Nobody knew inside. So thereby, nowadays, with these modalities like that of the CT and the MRI, we can immediately come to know what is happening inside and what is happening and with which modality, at what time, which investigation is required. This is what the aim is. But that all comes by having an understanding of the gross anatomy of the brain as such. So it should be, this should be taught to them after they complete this region. So the topic, as you see it over here, is the fundamentals of the imaging techniques, particularly about the X-ray, CT, and the MRI, with imaging findings in some traumatic head lesions. Before I tell you about those, what happens, what the change is there in the anatomy, you should know something about the fundamentals. And these fundamentals about the X-rays, CT scan, and the MRI. X-ray we know. These are the electromagnetic radiations, electromagnetic waves, which are there in the atmosphere, and the scientists take advantage of them. A word about them is that as far as the X-rays are concerned, X-rays have got a high frequency and low wavelength. And because of this very nature, they are able to penetrate through the body tissue. And we know that this wavelength is about 10 to the power minus 8 centimeters. And this diagram shows you the, can I have a pointer please? A pointer please. So these rays, as you see over here in this spectrum, are at the rate of this 10 to the power minus 8 centimeters. So that's what these X-rays are. And once these X-rays with the high frequency, they pass through the body tissue, what happens is they produce this image. How they are produced? They are produced by igniting or heating a cathode. And from this cathode, the electrons arrive and they strike the tungsten plate at the anode, and from there, through this vacuum tube, the X-rays are produced. And these X-rays are the ones, once they pass through the body tissues, they give their impression on the photographic plate that we know, already we know. We are all teachers and professors over here. And this image, what it shows is that there is a transmission of these waves through the specific area of the body. And you see the photographic plate takes this image, and the denser matter, the matter which has got more amount of tissue over there, looks to be white as the bone is. And the less dense areas, they look darker. That we are aware of. What happens with the CT scan? CT scan takes the advantage again of the X-rays. They are X-rays. We must keep in mind. And once we are advising, we are saying that you get this CT done, it must be kept at the back of the mind that the exposure to the patient by the X-rays is much more, because they are ionizing radiations. So therefore, you should, with a caution, should advise this. And you see that in the CT scan, what happens is that there is an X-ray tube, and that X-ray tube moves around the patient, and whatever the X-rays are passing through, they are captured on a screen, on a computer, and a picture is made. But the point is, here as the name says CT, computerized tomography. What is tomogram? If you see this on the side of this X-ray, and if I ask you that there is a spot in this screen on the X-ray, and the question is that this spot is in the anterior wall, in the middle, or in the posterior wall, the answer is no answer, because we don't know. But with the CT scan, what happens is we make a slice. There is a slicing, there is a section, and by that section, we come to know the exact advantages. And this gives us a picture like this, which is shown on the left side of the screen, and which we are aware of many times. Every one of us has seen it. Then this CT scan, the contrast can be given and the picture is enhanced. But at the same time, by the digital geometry, what we can do is we can make many sections, and these sections, they can be summated together on the CT, on this computer, and thereby 3D pictures can be taken, what is given the name of VR rendering, volume rendering, or the 3D pictures can be created. So that is what the basic about this is. So basically, we are again using the X-rays over there. Then a word about MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. In this, what happens is a powerful magnetic field is created. And we know that whenever we go inside the room where the MRI is done, we are advised not to carry any metal particles, right? Because they will be attracted by this. And particularly speaking, those patients who are having pacemakers, they are advised not to get it done. So thereby, this uses a high this quality of the magnetic field, plus radio waves are used. What happens in this? If you have seen a bunch of pins, all pins, metallic pins, and if a high magnet is placed against them, what happens is they make a row. Instead of remaining in a bunch, they make a row. And this is what happens to these. Similarly, what happens in this MRI is that once the magnetic field is applied to whatever tissue, in every tissue we know there is water. Water is H2O. Hydrogen atoms are there, and the protons of the hydrogen atoms, they align in the form of those pins, as I've given you this example. And once that alignment is there, what happens is now the radio waves are applied. Once the radio waves are applied, these pins or these protons, they move from their alignment and they come back. And as they move away and they come back, this change is when they are realigned, this change, this generates an impulse, and this is recorded as a pixel on the computer screen. That is what gives a picture. So this radio frequency, which is applied to this magnetic field, and the protons deviate, and an impulse is created, and we see it in the form of a pixel or a picture there on the computer screen. And in this way, the slices, again the tomograms in the MRI are produced. And that is how we get a picture as shown over here. Advantages of this. Advantages of the MRI are that in all three planes, that is axial, sagittal and coronal, the pictures can be produced. But what happens with the CT? CT initially was given the name of computerized axial tomography, CAT scan, not CT scan. And still that remains the same, because in even CT, we can get sagittal and the coronal films, but these films are made by volume rendering, meaning thereby the axial scans are there, they are summated together, a volume is created, and then the sagittal and the coronal planes on the computer can be produced. So on the CT, still it is axial tomography. It is not the sagittal and the coronal, as compared to MRI, where we can do it like this. Then this MRI is particularly meant for subtle region, in the region of brain. That is, the cryptic vascular malformations can be seen, and detecting flow can be seen as well by means of some special technique. Then demyelinating diseases can be seen, and here there is no beam hardening as compared to CT, that is because of the X-rays, and there are no ionizing radiations. So thereby we can say that if we are advising MRI again and again, at least there is no damage to the tissue as compared to CT scan. Once the patient of the trauma comes to you, what you are going to advise? What you are going to advise? You can advise X-ray, you can advise CT, you can advise MRI, but what should be preferred and when? That is the question. Skull X-ray is not the initial imaging modality, because nowadays when the patient comes, it is the CT or MRI, because of the fact that once there is an injury, we want to see inside as well. X-ray will not be showing you anything inside the brain, right? So it can hardly show you some fracture. So that's all. So it is not the initial this choice. The conventional CT is the imaging technique of the choice, but during first 24 hours. And you see that region being what? It shows you any lesion in the scalp or in the bone, extra axial, meaning thereby outside the brain tissue, or axial or within the brain tissue. It will show you all the sites of the lesions. That's very important. So that's why initially it is the CT scan is the initial choice of technique. Then one limitation is there, that if the patient is coming to you within 3 hours after injury, then the chances are that you will be underestimating the total amount of the lesion. Total area involved will be underestimated because the findings will not be there in initial 3 hours. That CT can be advised, and it will be showing you the best possible the pathology over there. But studies also show that in 10 to 20% of cases that it is not showing much of this pathology, and then what you can advise is MRI. Then after 48 to 72 hours, after that, MRI is generally considered to be the superior to CT. Why? Reason is one, that once there is damage, there is collection of the blood. What happens is hemoglobin in the blood, it oxidizes and it becomes, it rather the oxygen is this reduced and it becomes deoxyhemoglobin. And this, after some time, deoxyhemoglobin oxidizes again and it becomes met hemoglobin, and which is strongly paramagnetic. What it means? It means is that it is attracted towards the magnet. So thereby MRI will show you a better picture. So thereby after 48 to 72 hours, we are supposed to advise MRI, not the CT. Reason being this paramagnetic nature of the blood which is collected and the changes which are brought about in the blood. Overwhelming majority of the patients with a mild brain injury will show no abnormality on MRI many times. So MRI particularly will show you small lesions most of the times which are not shown by the CT. So what they say is, particularly in the once you are advising the CT after the trauma, you see that apart from the fracture of the skull and the subarachnoid hemorrhage, all other lesions will be nicely seen by the MRI. That's the point. Then once you see the X-ray skull, what you are supposed to see? You can see, oh, you have not given a pointer, please. Pointer. We're just starting from that. We can see the outer table, we can see the inner table, we can see the debris, we can see the course of vessels, we can see the sutures that we are, as anatomists, we are aware of. You see that once these are the things, and then we can see the different sinuses, we can see the orbit, and other features on the skull can very nicely be seen. On the CT scan, what do you see? On the CT scan, we see three things, whether it is isodense, hypo or hyperdense. Isodense means the gray nature, which is close to the structure of the brain as such, is isodense. Which is less than that is the hypodense, for example, where the CSF is collected, particularly in the region of ventricles. And hyperdense, as you see it over here at the periphery, bone is there, that we are aware of. So that is what we are supposed to see in the CT scan. Regarding MRI, a word. In the MRI, we are aware of that we generally what we see is T1 and T2 weighted images, what they are. T stands actually for the time. What the time is? To understand this T1 and T2 weighted images, we are supposed to know these two words, TE and TR, what they are. TE is the time of echo and TR is repetition time. What's the meaning of this? I told you that there is alignment of the protons. Alignment of the protons are there. Once the radio waves are produced, they are applied. These protons, they deviate and they come back in the form of an echo. So the time they take, this is the time of the echo. And repetition time is the interval at which these radio waves are applied. Right? So this TE and TR will decide whether it is a T1 weighted or T2 weighted images there. In the T1 weighted, TE and TR are less, in milliseconds they are there. And in T2 weighted images, they are more. Amount is more. And there are many other weighted images as well. For example, your flare, diffusion weighted and perfusion weighted, they are there. And we will not be talking about them. Generally, T1 and T2 weighted images are there. Oh. If you see a picture of T1 weighted image, what you see is gray, white is white. There's a gray matter looks to be gray and white matter looks white. And the ventricles, they look black. So where there is more amount of fat, meaning thereby in the white matter, the tissue looks to be white, while the peripheral gray matter looks to be gray. Then here you can see that not much of the bone is seen. So particularly what you remember over here in the T1 weighted is that gray is gray, gray matter is gray, white matter is white, and the region of ventricles where there is a collection of CSF, they look to be black. In the T2 weighted images, what you see is just the reverse. The ventricles are white, they are bright, and the white matter is grayish darker, and the gray matter looks to be brighter as compared to white matter, just the reverse. So that is what's the difference. In a T1 and T2 weighted, that is how the radiologists recognize that whether you are seeing the T1 weighted or T2 weighted images. T1 weighted images are generally good for seeing the anatomy as such, while the T2 weighted images are good for seeing any pathology. For example, your local inflammation, edema, tumor, infarction, hemorrhage, all these are better seen with the T2 images. Now you're just seeing the T1 and T2 images at the same time. They are just the reverse. Ventricles in the T1 weighted are dark, in the T2 weighted they are bright. That is the point we are supposed to keep in mind. And you see that in the X-rays, if you know that, particularly we can see the trauma of the X-ray, the fracture there. In the C2, in the CT scan, we can see all the tissues together, but there are ionizing radiations, they are damaging, and no metal problem is there. But with the MRI, metal problem is there, and the imaging is without any radiation. Particularly, it is good for prognosis, seeing as far as the brain tissue is concerned. Here is another very important picture. This picture shows you the CT scan, T1 weighted and T2 weighted images. What do you see over here? In the CT scan, you can see the bone as a whole, outside bone, bright. Inside you are seeing the ventricles and the parenchyma of the brain, but the parenchyma is not that distinct, not showing the contrast as is seen there in the T1 weighted. What do you see over here? Gray matter is gray, white matter is white, and the ventricles are black. But what you see in the T2, the ventricles are white. The white matter is grayish darker, and the gray matter is lighter as compared to white matter. And particularly speaking, if I just remove this CT scan and the T2 weighted, then you are asked the question many times, we confused whether it is CT or MRI. The answer to that is, if you see the bone, if the bone is seen nicely, it is CT scan. If the bone is not seen nicely, it is MRI. And in the MRI, in the T1, gray is gray, white is white, ventricles are black. In the T2, just the reverse. Just the reverse. That is how we remember. And that is what we are supposed to tell undergraduates in very brief lecture, very briefly. That's all. And this is what they require. After this, understanding this, we are just going to show you some of the traumatic lesions and how they show there on these different modalities. In the X-ray skull, what you are going to see? Fracture. And as far as the fracture line is concerned, you can see this fracture line over here, this yellow line. You can see this fracture line. This fracture line, suture. In a suture, what you see? Zigzag, tooth like this appearance. Then it is not branching, and that branching not even tapering. In the vessels, they branch and they taper. In the suture, they are zigzag. But in the skull fracture, it is a straight line, but is shown in this form of a black line over here, the fracture over here. Then another thing can be seen in the X-ray is this depressed lines. And these depressed lines actually are the fracture lines. That is how it is seen there. But nowadays, still I would like to mention, once a patient of head injury comes, we don't advise X-ray. We directly advise within 24 hours CT scan, because CT scan is going to show you not only bone, it is also going to show you the parenchyma and the extra-axial, meaning thereby the meningeal layers. It is also going to show you. So the right answer is, but still I'm just trying to show you how it looks like. If it is a case of X-ray skull fracture, what you see in the CT scan. What highlights over here is, although plain films of the X-ray may detect fractures, but the CT is imaging modality of the choice, reason I just told you. Right? And here what you can see is this red line, you can see the fracture of the petrous part of the temporal bone on the right side. It is right side, mind you. Why it is right side? It is not left. Reason being, whatever picture of the CT or the MRI in the axial scan we see, we imagine as if we are having a look on that section from below. From below. We see it from below. Seen from below. So meaning that why in this picture, this is the where the arrow is there, it is the right side. It is the left side always there. And at the same time, if you are reading the CT scan, it is always given right and the left. But whether it is given or not, you should know that we imagine as if we are having a look from below. That's the point. And you see the same very fracture is there in the showing a line on the base of the skull. Right? So that is how the fracture can be seen in the CT scan. In the MRI, where for the X-ray it is not good, but even then the depressed fracture can be seen nicely. A depressed fracture in MRI you will be able to see. You see that here at the periphery, not much of the bone is seen again in the facial section, but this depressed fracture can be seen. That's the point. But still, we don't advise for the X-ray, for the fracture skull MRI. Then for the epidural hematoma, we don't advise X-ray. We advise CT scan or MRI. In the CT scan, what the picture is? Picture is, it is biconvex lens shaped. Why it is like this? It is extradural. It is outside the dura, between the dura and the skull. And we know that dura at the different sutures passes through the sutures in the form of suture ligament and merges with the pericranium of the skull. So thereby, whenever there is an injury to a bone, say for the palatal bone is involved, so it will be localized to the palatal bone. So thereby, it will be having a picture like dumbbell like this. That's why. But if it is a diastatic fracture, meaning thereby if the fracture is crossing the suture, then the shape may be different. But generally, it is considered like this. So that's the important thing to be seen over there. And if this amount of the hemorrhage is more, it can deviate the midline. It can deviate the midline. Then extradural hemorrhage in MRI, how it looks like, how to diagnose. You see that this is a T1 weighted and this is a T2 weighted image. That's the one. In both these pictures, if you see this region over here, you will see over here a hypo-intense line at the periphery of the lesion, periphery of the collection of the blood. This is what signifies, this is what identifies that this is yours. This hypo-intense line detects that this is an extradural hemorrhage in MRI. That's the one. Then about the subdural, deep to that. In the subdural hematoma, what happens? On the CT, what happens? It is in the form of, in this form. It is in this form. What is this form is? It is crescentric in shape. It is crescentric. Why? Reason being that it is deep to dura. Now, no merging, no passing of the dura
Hello.
through the.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Sir, sir. Sir, sir, either.
Yes.
Sir, I have received a message, please conclude it a little bit earlier. Sir,
I'm taking more time. I'm taking more time.
sir, please. I'm sorry, but please.
So how the audience feels like, should I continue or stop? Huh? So I will take some more time, some more time. Some more time. I thought that my sides are much less. I will be not be able to talk throughout the time given to me, but still.
There has been a little bit of late, so we have.
Okay. So this is your concentric in shape over here. The reason being that it is deep to the dura. And see that the point to be mentioned is, point to be noted is, this is what we are supposed to let undergraduates know, because the gross anatomy is very important to understand these lesions. If you are not aware of the gross anatomy, you will not be able to read this. And again, after reading this, you are supposed to apply in the gross anatomy, because you are supposed to deal not with the plate, with the patient again. That's the point. So you are supposed to go back. We are not dependent on this. We are dependent more on the knowledge of the gross anatomy, plus what the patient is showing, what the signs are there. Accordingly, taking the advantage of these pictures, we are supposed to apply our knowledge on the patient and treat the patient. That's the point. So there's the concentric in shape. In the MRI, again, you see that it is concentric in shape, but many times it is biconvex as well. And after some time in subacute stage, what happens is that its intensity, that is this image, is just like that of the collection of just like the CSF. So it mimics like that. That is again concentric in shape. But what they say is, in the subacute and the chronic cases, it is a MRI which is better as compared to the CT scan in the cases of subdural hematoma. And you just remember this picture, that extradural and subdural hematoma, the extradural is yours like that of a lemon shape, and the subdural is banana shape. If you remember this, you will always keep in mind, and the undergraduates will be able to diagnose. Then about the subarachnoid hemorrhage. CT scan shows you the nice picture, and that is the imaging of the choice. And what you will see over here is, in the suprasellar region, in the Sylvian fissure and the interhemispheric region, what you see is the collection of the blood. And this collection of the blood is seen as a radio opacity, because the CT is covering you this X-rays. So thereby this this white or the bright echoes are seen. Then the interpendicular region, sometimes there is a collection of CSF. It can be seen in this form. Then this subarachnoid hemorrhage, many times because of the pressure backwards and through the foramen of Luschka and the Magendie, it can become an intraventricular lesion as well, and we can see the collection of the blood inside the ventricles as well, because of the back pressure, because of the more amount of fluid, more amount of rather blood in the subarachnoid space. Then MRI shows you what? MRI is not the choice for this subarachnoid, this hemorrhage. But still, once you see it in the different sulci, we can see this high intensity over there, the images of this intensity. And what they say is, in subacute phase, MRI is able to visualize it as a hyperintensity in the subarachnoid space because of those changes in the blood which take with the time, and it becomes paramagnetic. So that's why now the MRI is able to catch it. Then finally, this interventricular region, this hemorrhage. In the intraventricular hemorrhage, again the CTs are the imaging of the choice, and here we will see this shadow over there. CSF, that is how it looks like this. But many times this shows the cortex mimics this. But with the experience we come to know, and that's how intraventricular collection of the blood can be seen over there. But if the amount of intravascular lesion, this collection is much less, it is better to have an MRI. And in the MRI, what you see is this white is yours the CSF, but this small black collection is yours the blood in the initial period. That's how the MRI can show you the subtle, small amount of collection of the intraventricular hemorrhage. And in the brain contusion, what you see is just compare it, because some time has to be given. And the brain contusion is there. In the 2-hour plate, it is something like this. And after 6 hours, the plate is something like this. So thereby, after 3 to 4 hours, the CT scan should be done, and we will come to know how much damage is there. Area of the damage can be seen after some time. And finally, you see that here, this is a T2 weighted images. Why I'm saying T2 weighted? Because the ventricles are white. And here you can see this mass over here. This mass is paramagnetic because of changes in the blood. So therefore, we can say this big lesion over there in the right parietal region of the brain. Finally, what I conclude is CT is primarily modality for the head trauma, enough for most parts, as I said before, during the first 24 hours of the injury. Skull X-ray can be done, but it is only for the penetrating injuries. It is not advisable. After 48 to 72 hours, as I told you, it is the MRI, which is considered better than superior to this. And follow-up is always better with the image. You see that on the right, on the left side is the CT image. On the right side is the MRI image. And on the right side, MRI is T1 weighted. What you see over here is of the same very patient at the same time. You see that here it shows this site, a small region, a hypodense area. In the same very patient, when the MRI was done, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4 lesions. But it shows something wrong with the yellow. What you see it over here is axonal injury is there. With this side is this green one. Green is subcortical gray matter is this damage is there. And here in the sulci, this is subarachnoid hemorrhage. And in the posterior part, somewhere near the occipital lobe, this red part is showing you a white matter lesion. So the point is, many times if you are not able to see, not able to conclude with a CT scan, MRI can be advised at the same very time. So thereby, with these few words, I conclude that simply after they have studied the brain, in few these pictures, if you tell them, they become wiser and they are able to treat and advise patient, because advice is very important. Patient is coming to your casualty. What you are supposed to do? Go here or there. So that is what should be advised, and accordingly, the time is saved and the life of the patient is also saved. With these few words, thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. As far as we can see and think, and we see that the use of the radiological technique along with the normal anatomy which we teach to our students is really a boon for them, so that from the very early stage they can have the idea of the radiological techniques. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, sir, because of this wonderful deliberation. We have really learned that how to teach undergraduate students, particularly the way you have shown, this is the correct way of teaching the undergraduate students the radiological anatomy for their proper orientation from the very beginning towards early clinical exposure, so that they can be end competent Indian medical graduate, what is expected. So excellent. We also have learned how to teach our undergraduate the radiological. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
With this, we can conclude the session.
I think the open forum is open for the
Just
discussion.
because we are running out of time, I think
Any questions?
Any questions from the?
we can take up only one.
We have one question from Mr. Dr. Das. Sir, please.
Not a question at all. Thank you so much, sir. I must appreciate that this stage you were on the stage and talking about the radiological anatomy in such elaborate level. It is more than anything but your enthusiasm, which I must appreciate. I hope, I wish at your age, I can also do so. Now, one thing is just about your topic you have been talking about. I wonder how much actually being an anatomist we do or we do practice in our teaching, or whether how much should we practice. You have talked in details about the principles of this CT, MRI, okay, even so X-ray. The thing is that, and clinical application, when to, at what time of the head injury, after which hours, which to be advocated. I wonder, rather I am afraid whether do we stand that thing, that part, can we play a role? And if it really happens so someday that anatomist can do so, it would be a wonderful thing to happen. If the juniors can do so, carry forward, and if we in this from any platform can ensure that, I think that will be a wide opening for the anatomist. And that legacy, if we can leave behind for the juniors, that would be our real achievement. And if so, taking your points, if everything we can advocate someday as a clinical, as an anatomist, that clinical radiology also to be part of our program, UG, more so in PG, so that we can really work as a radiologist in true sense. And if we can ensure that through our persuasion, using any of this platform, let us work on it. Let us not be a theoretical thing. Let it be a practical thing. And let us really work on it. Let us make a task for that, really in true sense, so that no anatomy PG seats will remain vacant. It is, and because this thing, most of the people are not getting enthusiastic. It is a fact. So if that opening can be created, then we will do justice to our subject. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Just a word what you have said, just a word. You have seen that in my department at KGMC, from where I retired, I have created a CT scan gallery, 3D CT scan gallery, MRI gallery of the whole of the body. And I have developed, created a ultrasound lab. And in that lab, the patients used to come and we used to charge 201 rupees at that time, way back. And the charges were same as on the clinical side. And it was approved by the Vice Chancellor of the KGMC, approved that I can do it because I was a trained person in ultrasonography. And I used to do it for the routine purpose, ultrasound of the abdomen, and even of the pregnancy, right? I used to do it. And undergraduates used to appreciate very much. And most of the times undergraduates in anatomy, they are bored after when the 4 o'clock, they are supposed to go. Then I used to ask them, 4 o'clock, should we continue? They used to say, yes, please continue. Why? Because I'm showing them the beating heart of the fetus. This is the lower limb of the fetus. This is the head of the fetus. They are very much interested because they want to see something. And in the same very way, I will request every one of you to be in touch with this imaging anatomy, because this is the imaging anatomy is the one which is best understood by we the anatomist. So thereby, once we understand the normal anatomy and we are ambiguous persons and we are clinical persons, so thereby we can go to any extent, provided we just go for it, we try for it. So this, in this way, we can develop and we will not be coming in the no obstruction to the other departments. We will be creating our own. That is what the idea is. Otherwise, if you interrupt someone, then there is a problem. But what they think that we are coming in their line, that's the problem. That's the problem. They think we are the so-called, I should not use the word, non-clinical. That's the problem. With these few words, I stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we conclude the session here, and I congratulate and I must thank Sir Sharma Sir and my co-chairpersons and the distinguished audience for their patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would request Dr. S.K. Pandey, sir, to give a sampling as a memento and a certificate to Dr. P.K. Sharma, sir. I would again request Dr. S.K. Pandey, sir, to give sampling as a memento and a certificate to Dr. Ranjit Guha, sir. I would request Dr. S.K. Pandey, sir, to give sampling as a memento and a certificate to Dr. Sanjeev Jain, sir. I would request, sir, to give a sampling memento and certificate to Dr. Rakesh Kumar Diwan, sir. I would request, sir, to give sampling memento and certificate to Dr. Ashish Nair, sir. Now I will request Dr. Sanjeev Jain, sir, to give sampling memento and certificate to the guest speaker of our first session, that is Dr. Doris George Johanna, sir. So, now I would request Dr. Muthu Kumar Raval, sir, to give sampling memento and certificate to Dr. Lola Das, ma'am. I would request Dr. Muthukumar Raval, sir, to give sapling memento and certificate to Dr. Seema ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, and all the chairpersons on the dais. Thanks. Now we will proceed to our scientific sessions. Our first scientific session is here itself, that is venue is LT5, second floor. Our second scientific session is on third scientific session is at scientific session is at MU Hall on the ground floor. I would request all the delegates to please reach to their respected venues. Thank you.
May I request to all, those who have to present the scientific session in this LT5, please come forward. किसका है यहाँ पर अभी किसका है यहाँ पर?
Good afternoon, everyone. I request Dr. Asha Lata Didla ma'am to please come up on the dais. हाँ जी सर, वो भी लगा देंगे सर. ये वाला लगा. I request Dr. Anjulata Chauhan ma'am to please come up on the dais. I request Dr. Roshni Bajpayee ma'am to please come up on the dais. हाँ जी सर. हाँ जी सर, ये रहा राखी मैम की पेन ड्राइव. मॉर्फोलॉजिकल सेकंड वाला मॉर्फोलॉजिकल एंड नॉर्मल उसके बाद मेरा है ऑलरेडी इसमें दिया जी ना. हां पेन ड्राइव सर यहीं पे है सर. यहीं पे है. हाँ जी सर, सर वो हाँ जी सर,
उसी समय करें.
हाँ उस समय लग जाएगा. चलता
यस सर.
फोल्डर बनाओ, सेशन कॉपी करो. जैसे मेरा लिया नाम पूछो डॉक्टर किशोर, फाइल पे टेक डॉक्टर किशोर.
यस सर.
पीपीटी में चेंज कर दो आप.
जहाँ पे लगा दो.
पहले फोल्डर बनाओ.
किशोर सर. अच्छा, राखी मैम का है. एक किशोर सर का भी लगा दूं? Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, wait a second, ma'am. Just a second. Ma'am, we'll do, ma'am. But